A new red carpet disaster for Meghan Markle, whose appearance at Highbrow Hippie, which is the hair care brand that she's an investor in, alongside her colorist, Katie Lee, being slammed as both creepy and weird by the Royal News Network. And I'm joined now by Brittany, the editor of that brilliant channel. And oh my goodness, Brittany, this was just completely bizarre. Another appearance without Prince Harry, and she was acting goddamn strange. Certainly not at all in a regal manner. What was going on?
Yeah, so this was a launch of a brand apparently Meghan Markle has invested in, and this is an established hair care salon. It'll cost you about $550 for a coloring. But this whole situation with Meghan and her behavior just continues to get rather bizarre. She's becoming even clingier to other people, not just Harry. And it just comes across as like, is she real? What is she? What's she doing? It's just all comes across as so strange, a little creepy. And it's like, what are you doing? She doesn't even have this sort of decorum you would expect from someone who's even spent a smidge of time with the royal family, because I have met Kate very briefly, and I was very starstruck, but also very conscientious of the fact that she was royal. And Meghan just doesn't come across that way at all. She just still comes across as very much a D-list celebrity.
Yeah, I mean, I was really interested in some of your reporting about her body language and actions during some of this highbrow hippie event. Let's take a quick look at some of it.
But it's good. I thank you guys so much for being here.
And you can actually see this is Meghan Markle right there.
I don't know if we have the words of gratitude, at least I don't, to express how much each and every one of you guys mean to us, and I am not going to cry.
So if you'll actually notice here is that Meghan Markle, let's see if we can get it, is actually clinging to this guy right here. And he also sells hair care products at this particular salon. And so Meghan Markle's clinging to his shoulder. Why? I don't know. It's just weird. And of course they have a gospel choir singing. Don't know how gospel they actually are. And so then you got this. And I wonder,
And Brittany also tweeted about this. Yikes, the behavior
Meghan recently attended a red carpet event without Prince Harry, and critics immediately flooded social media with harsh reactions, with some even branding the appearance creepy, awkward, and weird. Now obviously, internet reactions can become incredibly exaggerated very quickly. But because Meghan remains one of the most polarizing public figures in the world, even a simple solo appearance instantly turns into a massive debate about image, attention, and the state of the Sussex marriage. At this point, whenever Harry and Meghan appear separately, the internet immediately starts speculating. People instantly ask, are they having problems? Why wasn't Harry there? Are they distancing themselves professionally? Is this a PR strategy? And because split rumors surrounding the Sussexes never fully disappear, solo appearances automatically become fuel for online theories. Now realistically, public couples often attend events separately for completely normal reasons. But with Harry and Meghan, ordinary explanations rarely stop speculation. Everything becomes symbolic. A lot of the backlash online seemed less about the actual event and more about how people interpreted Meghan's body language, expressions, and overall presentation. And honestly, this happens constantly with celebrities, especially polarizing ones. Audiences project emotions and intentions onto tiny moments. A smile becomes fake. Confidence becomes attention-seeking. Awkwardness becomes creepy. That doesn't mean the reactions are accurate.
It's creepier. What on earth is Meghan Markle thinking? She needs to figure out how to act with a bit of decorum, and for her age, this behavior is so odd. Meghan Markle has this weird thing of clinging to people like a 12-year-old girl. This ridiculous pose makes her look desperate, insecure, and performative. There's a way of sharing closeness without needing needlessly clinging to people. Also, it seems like she's keeping with the trend of making horrible business investments. The idea that she's some sort of entrepreneur is an absolute joke. Every public investment she's made is with a company that has limited growth potential, a niche side of an overly saturated market, and all have limited scalability. She needs to find a new career. As she promotes someone else's business, it also brings up the question if she'll ever get her own off the ground. It's been 8 months and she has nothing to show for America Riviera Orchard. It makes her seem wildly incompetent as a businesswoman, and her lackluster investment strategy does nothing to alleviate that. And Brittany, I thought that was brilliant analysis, which of course you no longer get in the mainstream media, because the mainstream media of coverage of this event was, oh wow, Meghan looked so incredible. How amazing is Meghan's new business? I mean, the Daily Mail is now so far up this woman's behind. It is completely bizarre, that total 180. But I want to pick up on a little bit of what you've said there, because there is a real issue, isn't there, that she has now diminished her standing so significantly. She turns up to a really low-class event for, let's be honest, a low-class product, and she is diminishing her own brand so significantly because it's no longer an exciting proposition for anyone to sign her up.
Exactly. I think American Riviera Orchard, whatever future it has, it's looking increasingly dim because she's going and promoting someone else's business, which is actually very small. She's only adding 2 products. They're very expensive. Most people wouldn't be able to afford $206 for a couple of, hair and beauty supplements and a scalp serum, is my understanding. So she has these products that she's helping to promote, but I'm like, but where is her own business? She should have this business ready to go. And yet she looks, I think, constantly distracted and distractible because she should be focusing on American Riviera Orchard, yet she's promoting this product and that product. It's like, but what about your own products? You need to have a company to actually grow and make money at the end of the day. And so this appearance just struck me as just so incredibly bizarre and over the top. And I've watched royals for a really long time. I just don't see royals ever behaving this way. It's just strange. It's cringy. I don't think makes her look like something or someone who is very investable at this point, because she just sort of looks like somebody who's desperately clinging to anything she can and is willing to invest, but only really for, you could say, her own gain in terms of she wants freebies from someone or something.
Also, highbrow hippie. I mean, even just the name shows you how out of touch these people are, right? Highbrow hippie. I've been to these types of parties in Los Angeles. These people are horrible. They're not actually having fun. It's all, as you say, a performance. It's all to show for the cameras that we love each other, that we're all supportive of each other, but it doesn't feel at all real. And I just thought highbrow hippie is actually how Meghan would view herself. And that's why she is failing, because being a highbrow hippie means that you think that you're above.
It just shows how emotionally charged public perception around Meghan has become. Supporters argue she faces impossible scrutiny where even walking a red carpet becomes controversial. Critics argue her public appearances often feel overly performative or image-conscious. Honestly, Meghan now exists at the center of several huge cultural debates all at once. Celebrity culture, royal tradition, race, feminism, media treatment, public image management. That's why reactions to her are rarely neutral anymore. People already have strong opinions before she even appears publicly. And because the Sussex story has become so emotionally polarized, every appearance instantly gets filtered through those existing beliefs. Supporters see confidence and resilience. Critics see performance and branding. Of course, the fact Harry wasn't present became part of the story immediately, because the Sussex relationship itself remains one of the biggest ongoing narratives in celebrity and royal culture. Some critics interpreted Meghan appearing alone as evidence of growing distance between the couple. Others argued this was simply another independent appearance being wildly overanalyzed online. And honestly, the internet has become obsessed with searching for signs of trouble in Harry and Meghan's marriage. Every separate project, every solo appearance, every public interaction. The reason stories like this spread so quickly is because Harry and Meghan exist in a permanent cycle of fascination now.
The rest of the world.
Oh, they absolutely do. And that's the thing with Hollywood is that it's such a shallow place. Every relationship is essentially transactional. I'm friends with you because maybe at some point you might be useful to me and
Yes.
vice versa. And that's how the whole ecosystem there is. And so Meghan Markle is very much a part of that. And you'll notice that many of her friendships follow that very similar pattern. She's friends with people until they're no longer useful to her, or she thinks maybe that they've overused her in some way and she can't really get a use out of them anymore. That's sort of the dynamic that exists in much of Hollywood. And most of these people, yeah, they're not really friends. They're not really that close, but they'll fake it. They'll do this whole display because it's all about the perception, the performance. It's not really about the actual relationships. And Meghan very much sees herself as this highbrow hippie. And you'll notice in the companies that she has publicly said that she's invested in are all companies that have products that are, you could say, sort of high end, that they're outside what most people can afford. And so she's not investing in, let's say, a startup that's really struggling, that just needs somebody to come in, an angel investor, to really help them. Says the Collective to even have an investor. And Meghan, I think, kind of called them and goes, well, I like your stuff and I wear it and I hope more people buy it. So can I invest in you? So hopefully more people buy and I make money. It's a very strange investment strategy in some respects. And so it's very much, though, all transactional. It is very fake, very shallow, very vapid, this world that Meghan Markle lives in.
It is. But it's clear, though, Brittany, that deep down, she's not comfortable at the moment. That's why we're seeing these very over-the-top displays on red carpets, when she knows that all of the attention is about the fact that, oh my goodness, here she is again in public without Prince Harry. The professional separation starts to look a bit personal, doesn't it? Because this is her brand. This is something she's invested in. Prince Harry's meant to be this very supportive beau. He can't be bothered to show up.
It's very true. And I've always said, since we got this line of, oh, there's going to be a professional separation.
They're not just celebrities. They represent royal rebellion, media warfare, fame, marriage, public identity, modern celebrity branding. So even a red carpet appearance becomes much bigger than the event itself. It becomes part of a larger ongoing narrative audiences are emotionally invested in. At the end of the day, Meghan's latest appearance probably says more about public opinion than it does about Meghan herself. Some viewers saw confidence and independence. Others saw awkwardness, image management, or performative behavior. But one thing is undeniable. Anything involving Meghan Markle and Prince Harry instantly becomes global conversation. What do you think? Was the backlash unfair, or did the appearance genuinely feel overly staged and uncomfortable?